Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. And we have a very interesting guest today. David Abiola is an Excel MVP. Currently, he's the only Excel MVP in Nigeria. So he's going to share his interesting journey. We're going to learn from him how you can go from zero to hero. And
Okay, hello,
okay,
good
great.
afternoon, good evening.
Yes. So I'm sending you live right now. And once again, everybody, this is our special guest for today.
Okay.
David Abiola is the only Microsoft Excel MVP in Nigeria currently, and for him to be the only one, then you will know that he definitely has a lot of things that Microsoft has noticed, and today we want him to share with you how you too can go. I'm sure definitely there was a time he didn't know Excel, he didn't know all what he knows
Exactly.
now. Yeah, so
Exactly.
it's not like he was born with it. And
Definitely.
today it will be a privilege for you to hear his unique story, how you can go from whatever level you are today to that international level he has gotten to, getting an award from Microsoft, you know, getting to even feature on events internationally. There's an event that is going to happen next month that I think
Yes.
is on Excel virtually, which a lot of people from around the world are in. There is also one he did in Brazil. So that's a lot of things, that a Nigerian is able to achieve without having to completely relocate out of Nigeria. And today
Absolutely.
you're going to hear his unique story. So, David, over to you.
All right. Good evening, each and every one of us. I'm so glad to be here with us, okay? And I'm really honored to be invited by our highly experienced Mr. Michael Olafusi. He's a fantastic man. I've read quite a lot of things about him. And, I'm so happy that we Nigerians are also able to compete with other people from around the world. Mr. Michael Olafusi has been a 5-time, now a 6-time MVP. He's the first Excel MVP from this continent of Africa, which is awesome. Of course, it's an individual award for him, but it's a plus. It's an award for every one of us as Nigerians, because we are proud that we are able to produce quality, talented technology experts that are able to compete with other users around the world. So for him to have bagged the award for 5 years in Excel, wow, that is amazing. So I respect you, I salute you, and I'm looking forward to see you one-on-one, because there's so much that I need to learn from you. You've been there. I'm just a first timer. So thank you so much for all that you've been doing for the community and for all our guests. Of course, we can, get to the top, as Mr. Mike said. There's always this belief that probably if you're from this side of the world, you can't compete with the people on the other side, which is absolutely not so, okay? We can compete with the best of the best, because we are all born the same way. So your knowledge has nothing to do with the color of your skin or where you're coming from. It has to do with what you have upstairs. And that's exactly what we've been doing since the past. And I hope that in few years we have more Excel MVPs, people joining the rank, and we'll be able to move forward collectively, because that's my joy, that at least we should be able to produce more MVP from this country and from the continent as a whole, so that at least we have some voice in the international community. So I don't know if there are questions for me to just take before we go into the demos.
Right now, I can't see yet any questions. So what I will do is I'll still try and get more people to become more active in the audience side. So
Okay.
what I can say, you can carry on. So we are
Okay.
all here to hear your unique story and
Okay.
whatever insight and demo and all you have for us. All right. So the
Okay,
floor
now
is
I'm going
yours.
to start with my story. Okay, I actually, as Mr. Mike said, nobody was born knowing Excel. In fact, I was a green on, totally alien to Excel. Okay, but when I got my job in a particular company, about 7 years ago, we used Excel on the job, and I crossed over to another job, and of course we use Excel. So when I left that job, by divine arrangement, I never, thought of, going into Excel, doing anything that has to do with Excel. To be honest, I was on my, two-seater on a particular day, and I heard God spoke to me, son, begin to teach Excel. So it will amaze you that I didn't just go into Excel because I want to go. No, I heard God told me clearly, son, begin to teach Excel. So when I heard him spoke, and I know him because he's my father and he's my friend, that's bettered, that's that's the beginning of the Excel Jet consult, and my focus is specifically driven towards the undergraduate and the NYSC core members, because I know, and of course, which is true, none of us have these Excel skills when we are in the universities. Okay, this is not part of our curriculum, and these are the skills that company needs. Company is not only interested in whether you have the first class or second class or even third class. Company are interested in people that have the wherewithal skills to be able to hit the ground running. So when I started Excel Jet Consult, I do a lot of free trainings. For example, I've been to some universities in Nigeria, in the eastern part, southeast, in southwest here, and in the north. I've been to different places because of this Excel. So what I do basically is that we facilitate free Excel training, specifically targeted at the final year students. And this I've been doing for quite some time. And of course, I also partner with the NYSC Lagos chapter to facilitate free Excel training for the core members, because I believe that equipping our NYSC people with the skill set for them to be able to enter the corporate world easily is very much important to me. So I don't really focus on money because I have other things that I'm doing that brings in money for me. So I'm actually interested in adding values to people's lives, let them become somebody in life. And that is the joy one of the joy rather that I derive from sharing my knowledge freely. So let me just share some screen, some things I have here. Okay, let me just do, okay, just a moment. I'm trying to share something.
All right, okay.
So, okay. So can we see my screen? Okay.
Yes.
Good. Now I just prepared, something, little. Now, of course, this is my, logo. I do Excel and I do, Power Business Intelligence, Power BI. Okay. And in the course of my Excel training, I've published, Excel, 2 books on Excel. One of them is Microsoft Excel for Professionals, and another one is Advanced Masterclass for Professionals. And the reason is simply because, Excel is not something that you actually acquire and you remember all things. No, when you are taught something in Excel, there is tendency for you to forget some things. So that's the reason why I actually, published this book as part of my training material, so that after we have gone through the training class, my participants, they have a copy of this. Now I give soft copy, not hard copies. So they have a copy of this so that they can actually go through everything that we have talked about in class. And that's the reason why I published this. Now there's another book, but I just decided not to talk about that. It's on Power BI, but I just mellowed down on that for now. So in the course of my training, doing free training, contributing to the technical community, on the 1st of December 2020, I got a mail from Microsoft that I've been awarded the prestigious MVP award in Excel. And this is exactly what we can see from here. And this is coming for my contribution, to Excel community, and it's under the Office apps and services. So when I got this award, I became the 2nd person overall in Africa after Mr. Mike Olafusi to have received this prestigious award. So I'm really grateful, for this award. Now let me just scroll down and show you 1 or 2 things. Now this is just the award, this is the play, and of course I got this certificate, from Microsoft. Now let me go back to the little things. Now the world of Excel has really evolved. There are so many things that is coming up now in Excel, and one of the things I believe with Mr. Mike also, one of the things I think that that I'm interested in doing is that we need to upscale our people from this country to be able to compete with other people from around the world. And that is why in my trainings, I use the latest technology in Excel, okay? Now, in Excel, there are new things that are coming up. Now, some of us have heard of the powerful vertical lookup function, VLOOKUP, which enables us to look up for a value in a table array based on the index number, column index number. Now, the world is now evolving because there are new things that is coming up. Now, we have a function that is called the XLOOKUP. Now, the XLOOKUP is one of the most powerful functions that is available in Excel today because it succeeds both the VLOOKUP and the XLOOKUP. And for as many of us that are power users in VLOOKUP, we know that VLOOKUP has quite some limitations. So all this limitation is what the XLOOKUP function is able to handle from this moment, from the time it was released. And of course, we have what is called the dynamic array functions. Now, there are 6 dynamic array functions in Excel. One of them is the filter function, which I love so much. So we have the filter function. And of course, we have the sort function, which allows us to sort a range or an array. We have the unique function. This is the unique function, one of the 6 dynamic array functions. And we have the sequence function. We also have the sort by function. So these are really powerful functions in Excel. Now, just yesterday, 2 days ago, on the 10th of June, Microsoft released a new function that is called the stock history function. I believe some of us in Nigeria have these functions if you are subscribed to what is called the beta channel of Microsoft 365. So I'm going to press Control Escape. Now let me show you my Office that I'm using. So I click on File tab, then I click on Accounts. Now, as a Microsoft MVP in Excel, we have some special applications or these programs that Microsoft give all the MVPs in Excel and also in other, categories. Now, for people in Excel like me, I have access to Microsoft 365 Enterprise 5. And of course, I have the subscription on my personal laptop for the Office Insider. Now, the Office Insider is the #1 in the hierarchy of the Microsoft technology in the Office category. Now, formerly, we call it the Insiders or the Insider Fast. Now, it has been renamed as Beta Channel. So if you are on the Beta Channel, which is the same thing as the Insider Fast, then you will have the new stock history function, you have the XLOOKUP, and of course the dynamic array function. And of course, there's a new function also that is called the let function, which is one of the most powerful functions in Excel. So I've done a lot of videos on these functions. They are available on my page or on my YouTube channel, Abiola David Excel Jet Consult. So you can see some of these videos. Now, if you have questions, please do let me know. Now I'm going to show you in this demo what I call 3D formula structure in Excel. So it is reusable 3-dimensional formula structure in Excel. Now, if you're following, you discover that I have about 6 tabs. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we have the 7 sheet tabs, which is the summary. Now, if you go through each of the tabs, you discover that we have the Southeast, the Southwest, South-South, North Central, and so on and so forth. Now, let's take this as an example. Let's say we have this data, for this Cornerstone bookstore, and they are operating in each of the geopolitical zones in Nigeria. Now, these are the data that they receive from the Southeast. You discover that in Q1, they sold this unit of novels written by Chimamanda Adichie and also novels or books written by Wole Soyinka, Chinua Achebe. Now you discover that the information differs from Q1 to Q4. Now, if you go, if you go to the Southwest, sheet tab, you also discover that we have the units sold for each of the quarter. Okay, for example, in the Southwest region, and the novel Half of the Yellow Sun, written by Chimamanda Adichie, we sold 538 units in Q1 in Southwest. In Q2, we did 554, and so on and so forth. So we also have the same thing in all the other sheets. Now, what we want to do essentially is that we want to sum, or we want to combine all these units sold in each of the quarter for each of the book in the summary sheet. Now, you also discover that we have, Q1, we have Q2, Q3, Q4. Now, in cell C, B4, for example, we want to sum into B4 all the units in each of the sheets in cell B4. Can you see? These are all the things we want to sum, and so on and so forth. Now, if you don't know about what is called the three-dimensional formula or structure or formula or calculation or reference, this is probably what you do. You click in cell B4, you put in an equal sign, which is the beginning of writing a formula. And a formula simply means providing an input value by starting with the equal sign, then you get an output. So equal sign, then you click inside the southeast sheet and you click on cell B4. Then you put in another equal sign, plus sign rather. You click on the southwest sheet. You click on cell B4 to reference the value. Then you put in another plus sign. You go to the south, you click on cell B4 again, plus sign. You go to the northwest sheet. You click on cell B4, plus sign. You go to the northeast sheet. You click on cell B4. You put in another plus sign, and you finally go to the north central, and you click on cell B4. Now, that is fine. So when I hit enter from here, boom, everything is automatically summed from each of the sheets. But this is absolutely inefficient way of doing this, because you have to go through each of the sheets one after the other to select the values, which doesn't make sense. Now, there's a potential for you to select a wrong cell, to reference a wrong cell. Now, this doesn't make sense because, one, you have to go through each of the sheets, and this is time wasting. You are wasting a lot of time by doing this method, and of course, there can be a mistake. So I'm going to delete this. Now, that will lead us to how to do this same operation using the 3D formula. Now, 3D simply means three-dimensional. So I'm going to start by clicking in cell B4 again. Then I put in my equal sign. Then the number one function that is known generally in Excel is the sum function, which sums all the numeric value within a range. So I'm going to type the sum function, okay? Then I'm going to press my tab key to select the function. Now, the sum function has one mandatory argument and optional argument in square brackets. And this optional argument is up to 265 long. Okay, so we only need to provide number one, which is the compulsory argument. So what I'm going to do is, having selected my function with the tab key, I'm going to click on the southeast sheet. So when I click on that, now there is what is called the group sheet technique. Now, the group sheet technique simply means that you group all the sheets together, and whatever changes you made to one of the sheets, it will automatically apply to all other sheets grouped. So having clicked on this southwest sheet, I'm going to hold down my shift key. So when I hold it down, okay, before I hold my shift key, I'm going to click on the cell B4, okay? Then I'm going to hold down my shift key and I click on the last sheet, which is the north central. Can you see? So immediately I click on the north central, having held down my shift key. All of them were grouped immediately. Now, if you look at the top of the screen here, you see something like, grouped at the top. So whatever changes that I made to one of them now, it will automatically apply. Now, everything is fine. All I need to do is to close my parentheses. Now, if you look at the formula bar, you discover that we have the equal sign, the sum function, the open parentheses, and we have the exclamation mark, the apostrophe, and we have the southeast, and we have colon. not central. Now, what this syntax is telling you that we have grouped all the data from cell B4 in the southeast sheet, and the colon simply means all through to north central, meaning that all the southwest to the northeast, they are in between the southeast and the north central. So we have referencing all the value in cell B4. So all I need to do is, I mustn't click back into the summary. You mustn't click back. All I need to do is to hit the enter on my keyboard. Boom. Can you see? So when I hit enter, all the value is summed. So this is really time, saver. It's more efficient. It allows you to be more productive. And of course, we have what is called the autofill or the fill handle. So if you look at this little icon at the bottom right of your active cell, you can see this little icon. So all I need to do is to watch out for this black cross, then hold my left click and I drag to the right. So the formula copy to the right and I drag down. Amazing. We have sum all the values from each of the corresponding cells from our different sheets. That is simply amazing. Now, if we pay attention to this, my data, and the topic, I said reusable 3D formula structure in Excel. Now, we have just performed a simple 3-dimensional formula. Now, what I mean by reusable is simply because I can use the structure that is behind the formula to populate the cells for Wole Soyinka's, Q1 to Q4 here, and for Chinua Achebe right here. Now, before I do that, instead of actually, I'm going to press Ctrl Z twice, 1, 2. Now, instead of just dragging like this and copying down, I don't like this. So I'm going to press Ctrl Z. So I'm going to select all the cells that I want my result to go into. And I actually love to use shortcuts a lot, okay, because shortcuts allow you to work more efficiently and more faster. So I'm going to press Ctrl R. Now, Ctrl R will copy the formula to the right, and Ctrl down will copy the formula down to the cells below. This is amazing, okay? Now, let's just do the total. So I'm going to select all the cells, okay? So I can do Alt equal, which is going to perform the auto sum. So when I do Alt equal, so it's going to sum all the value to the left. Can you see? Easily. Then I can select all this empty cell again for the bottom total and do Alt equal, and all the value in each of the columns will be summed. Can we see? So meaning that in Q1, we sold a total of 41,818 units across all the 6 geopolitical zones. Now I'm going to press Ctrl X again. Now, instead of having to be doing this one after the other, which is not even efficient for me, I can actually just select all my cells like this, okay? So then I do Alt equal. Amazing. So everything is summed both in the row by row and in each of the columns. Okay, these are for each of the rows, and these are the total for each of the columns. This is cool. Now, this 3D formula, as I said, we can reuse the formula. Now, instead of having to do something like this again, equal sign sum, press my tab key, do this, select the cell in cell B14, hold my shift key and click on North Central and do enter. Instead of having to do this again and again, which is about 5 or 6 clicks, I don't need to do that. So I can actually reuse the formula structure. Now, let's see how it works. Because all this my data, they have the same structure, okay, which is very important in 3D formula. So they must, sit in each of the corresponding cells in each of the sheet tabs. So I'm going to come to the summary. Now, we have how many rows here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Cool. Now, this is for the Chimamanda Adichie's data, the unit sold. Now, for the Wole Soyinka, we have Wole Soyinka's, excuse me. Okay, let's just leave this like this. Wole Soyinka's book, the interpreter, the man died, and so on and so forth. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have 4 rows to fill. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just borrow any 4 from here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me just borrow 4, okay, from here. I can actually do anyone from bottom anywhere. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I select it to the right. Then I'm going to do Control C. Now Control C copies a data, but when I paste here, doing Control V, can you see what happens? Amazing. It did not pasted the value here, okay? It pasted only the formula that is behind the structure, and that saves us a lot of time, okay? So we have done this one. All I need to do is to select everything like this and do Control Alt equal, and the data is done for Wole Soyinka. Now let's do the same thing for Chinua Achebe. We have how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, right? So I need to go to the top. So we have 8 here. So I'm going to just borrow 7 like this. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to select it to the right. Control C. Again, come to cells B20, and I do Control V. Amazing. So we have automatically sum all the values using the reusable structure that is behind the formula. This is cool, and this is what's called 3D formulas in Excel. So all I need to do is to do Control Alt equal rather. So with the Alt equal, we have the total. Now you can actually see that if you have to analyze this data, we discover that we sold 41,000 for Chimamanda Adichie in Q1. Let's say Q4 for Chinua Achebe's book. In all the 6 geopolitical zones, we sold 31,777. Okay, so we can actually see that if I have to analyze this data further, we discover that in the Q4, we are selling more in Q4, then followed by Q2, we sold more in Q2, then in Q1 and Q3. So meaning that there are more purchase, there are more buying in Q4 compared to Q2, Q1, and Q4. Now this is simply 3D formulas structure in Excel. So I don't know if you have questions. We can take the questions. Maybe you want me to just go back and do something.
All right. So I think we have some questions that I can pass to you now. All right.
Yes, sir.
And then just before I even mention the questions, so everybody in the audience, I'm already posting links that you can connect with David through. So his YouTube channel, which is a very good place for you to keep being in loop of all these amazing tips he has. In fact, even the events that he is able to share things in. Sign up to his YouTube channel, then also his website. So we'll be sharing that so you can be aware of services that he renders. So you are getting from the best. So I just want to mention that. And if you have any questions, do please share. So these are the questions that already have been asked. And so I start with some of the questions were questions.
Okay, can go ahead, sir.
Is with the development. So yeah, Frank is asking, with the development in data science and machine learning, people are migrating to Power BI, Python, R. So he's asking, what is the relevance of Excel in the future?
Thank you for the question. Now, before I actually, talk about, before I answer the question, Microsoft released, a data for some of us, MVPs, and we discovered that in every month there are 500 million users of Excel all over the world, which is a giant number. Okay, now every company uses Excel. Okay, now the Power BI, of course, it's one of the most powerful visualization and powerful application out there, including the Python, the R, Hadoop, and so on and so forth. But you agree with me that there are many users of Excel in every company than in Python, than people who use Python or Power BI or even R. So of course, you can actually learn Python, you can learn, R, you can learn, Power BI, which is also from Microsoft, Power BI. But Excel actually gives you the foundational knowledge in building a future in data analytics. Now, it will be so interesting that if you don't know Excel and you move to others, Python, well, some companies do not even use Python. Okay, it's a powerful tool anyway, but some company doesn't even use Python. But you agree with me that every company, either they are private or public sector, every one of us use Excel. Every one of us, and that is why there are millions of users in every month. So you can learn Python, you can learn Excel, but I always encourage people to learn Excel because these are the skill sets that company needs. Okay, everybody use this on every job. If I base on Mr. Olafusi's, the profile I saw on internet, he said I worked in some places, in some organization in the past, whereby Excel is the useful or the tool that they use a lot, and that bettered his interest in going into Excel field. So you can learn Excel or Power BI and even Python. It depends on where your goal, what you are trying to achieve in life. Okay, but I always recommend learning Excel. And in fact, it will be interesting to know that just recently I'm even training some users in America, in US. I have some clients that I'm training on Excel right from my room, and they're actually Americans. Okay, they are not from this from our continent. They are from America because they told me that this skill is the top skill that every company uses over there, and they have limitation in this knowledge. So they paid me in dollars, and I'm training them from my room. So that will let you know that Excel is something that you can actually do with. You can't do away with, rather. So it's something that everybody needs to learn. It doesn't matter whether you want to learn Python or Power BI. So thank you. I hope I've answered the question.
Yeah, very, very insightful angle to it, because it keeps coming up again and again, people trying to say, this tool versus that tool, and they think sometimes that it has to be, you have to completely abandon one in your pursuit of the other. But what you said completely nailed it. The fact that even in the countries that we think are a lot ahead of us, and all of us, we are trying to gain skills so that maybe when we relocate to Canada or you relocate to US,
exactly,
you will be able to get job. You feel they don't need your Excel, that the Excel is like too common. But see, your last explanation correctly answers the fact that Excel is very fundamental and strategic, that you just cannot ignore it. And no matter how much you want to still go into those new things.
Absolutely.
You have this, make sure you are settled with it. Then any other thing you want to do, this will even help you in becoming better. And I like that, your answer, sir. So let me see if there's any other question. And just to let you know, I think something happened when I was when you were talking that I dropped off. So you are now like the organizer, so you have the full control from your end. So
okay,
you can always choose what you show. So like right now, you're the one showing. Whenever you want to show your screen, I cannot control that anymore. You can't. So I just wanted to let you know.
okay.
So the other thing that people want to know, which I know you talked a bit about it, but I'm wishing that maybe you can share some more personal gist about it, is, like your journey, you mentioned how you used to be in a particular field, in a particular role, and then how things, your interest began to change, and then you got that very sure, call about this is the next career dimension and move for you, and how you also focus more on skill, on developing others. Money was not like the first thing on the agenda for you. It was much more that impact, and you went all lengths to even collaborate with NYC, to go to schools to do free events. These are things that are very, very, some people don't connect some of these things to even where you are now. Some people just see it as you, maybe you are a very kind person, and they just sometimes see it as maybe all those things you are doing for free. Maybe you should have even charged for it. Maybe, you know, they don't sometimes see the fact that when you do some of these things out of genuine passion, out of desire to help others, that, you know, they don't see it as maybe if you had not been that way, maybe these opportunities, this being an MVP will not have happened. They just see it more as, you know, you are not making money, that you are not business savvy enough. Sometimes that's how some people put it. That, all these things you're doing for free. You know, if you are charging for them, you know, this is how much you will get, you know. And so I just want you to help people also understand that this is another part to also achieving proficiency, helping them to see that as long as you are creating value, you will always have value come back to you. You know, and you know, I just wanted to, if you have some particular stories of where, you know, you had done something and you never expected it to come back to you in a good way, and you're like, you know, could be many months, could be years after it, and the thing came back and you're like, you know, you never really expected it. I don't know if you have any of some interesting stories.
Yes, I do.
All right.
I'm going to show you something quickly. Now, of course, you know, when I started Excel, you know, I've been going to some universities to offer free trainings, which I do with passion, you know, with joy. In fact, Excel has actually even taken me to where I've never been to in this part of this country. That's an interesting thing, you know, in Excel for me. Now, people actually see what I'm doing, okay? In fact, people are so, you know, they are sending, you know, messages that, wow, thank you so much, you know, for sharing your knowledge. You know, people who value knowledge, who understand what it will cost if I have to charge for some of these things that I'm doing freely for at least the students and the NYC people. You know, they are so grateful for all these things that I do. And of course, by so doing, you know, some people also see what I'm doing on the LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter, and some people come to my website. And through what I'm doing freely, I've been able to get some, you know, giant contracts. For example, I'm going to show you this picture quickly. This is myself, you know. I was called, this man happens to be the third man in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources in Federal, in Abuja over there. He happens to be the Director of Human Resources Management. So he told one of these guys, you know, to call me, and they brought me from Lagos to Abuja to deliver 2 days free training for them, paid, not free. So, you know, it was an all expense paid, and they still pay me my money. Don't worry about what they paid me, okay? So they paid me, and, you know, you know, they are so happy. In fact, they are so delighted. They were so delighted with the quality of, you know, training I gave to them. So, as I've said, you know, we shouldn't be money driven. Of course, we need to pay our bills. We need to, you know, do other things. But, you know, if I'm actually coming up as a new business, you need to actually be willing to offer pro bono trainings, okay, so that people can actually know you. Let them know you. Let them know what, you know, the brand that you are attached to. Then, if there are more opportunities, of course, they will call you to come and, you know, offer them training. And of course, you make your money. For example, now, people that I'm training from US, I mean, they are paying me quite a lot of money that an average Nigerian would never pay me, what I'm charging the people from US. So, because they've seen that, wow, this guy is at the top and he has the wherewithal to offer us quality training. And that is it. Now, this is one of my training for a particular company in Lagos, okay? So, you know, we should just be willing to add more value to people's life, because opportunity will always come. It will always come. Once you are doing it from a genuine heart, and you are, you know, improving the lives of other people, definitely the time is coming that you will reap from all these things that you are doing. So that's the way I see life, and that's the way I actually live my life, you know, from the beginning. Everything is not about money, add values to life. Because if someone gets my training, at least some people have been to my training, you know, free training, and they got jobs, and they were so happy. Who knows whether these people that came for my free training will recommend me to their company to come and train them, and I'll get the big paycheck. Who knows? You can never tell the person you are training for free. You can never tell the people that he or she is connected to. Maybe he's connected to one MD or one CEO in a particular company, and they say, oh, this fellow is good in Excel. He gave us free training. Let's bring him to come and train us. And that's the way life is. So that's the way I, you know, say things.
Thank you. That's very practical and really motivating. And Right now we are at the nick of time, so
Okay.
I want you to give us one last. I don't know if do you still have any demos you wanted to show? If it's long, we might maybe also try and have another session that you come back. If
Okay, I'm
because
going
I
to do this
know.
one under 3 minutes or so. It won't take much.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe we'll use that to wrap up the session.
All
then.
right. Okay.
Yes,
so I really actually looking forward to seeing you, Mr. Mike. I will talk on that later on. Now,
all right.
we have this example we want to look at. We want to split these values into multiple columns. Now, there are several ways to do this, but because of our time, I'm going to show you one or two. Now, you discover that we have this data that are all combined in each of the cells in column A. Now, we have the month and we have the iPhone, year, iPhone, all through to total. And we have the same thing for the main data. Now, let's say we want to split all this into several columns. What I'm going to do is I can use what is called the text to columns feature in Excel. So the first thing is to do is to select all the data. Then under the data tab, now before I go further, let me just show us something new in Excel. Let me come to the view tab. Now we have what's called the sheet view. Now the sheet view is one of the most powerful things that has happened in Excel. It helps you to collaborate without affecting other people's job on the same Excel workbook. That is amazing. So it's available for as many of us in the beta channel of Microsoft 365. Now let's come back to the data tab. Now under the data tools group, we have the text to columns here. So I click on that. So we have convert text to columns wizard, step 1 of 3. Now we can see that our data has what is called the delimiter. Now the delimiter is the iPhone that we can see that separates each of the data. So we're going to go with the delimited. So I click on next. Then we have the step 2 of 3. Now my delimiter is iPhone. So I'm going to click on the order. So I don't need to worry about the tab. So I'm going to just put in, now just watch this data preview. Immediately I put in the iPhone in this box, you see the data splitted into the preview window. So I put in iPhone. Can you see that? We have the month, year, customer type, and so on and so forth. All I need to do is to click on next. Now I can actually select the destination, but I can actually still dump it on cell A1. So all I need to do is to click on finish if I want to dump it in cell A1. Boom, amazing. So we have split out all the data into different columns. Can you see? Now this is cool. This is amazing. Okay, now let me show you quickly the second method. Now I'm going to show you the Power Query. Okay, I'm going to use this text to columns data for the Power Query. So quickly, I'm going to convert the data to what is called an Excel table. So hit Control T on my table, on my data. So I'm not going to check my data as headers. Okay, it's very important for a reason. So the data is formatted in an Excel table. So I can do right click and choose Get Data from Table /range. I can come to the data tab under the Get and Transform group. I can click on From Table /range. So I've clicked on that. Now this is going to open what is called the Power Query Editor. Now the Power Query is one of the most powerful things that is really not known by many people who use Excel. Okay, it allows you to connect to different data sources and to perform what is called cleaning and transformation. And in fact, you can even do refinement of your data. So the Power Query is independent of the Excel workbook. Okay, so it is almost ready. Now the name of my table that I converted into the data, rather from range that I converted into the table, is table 1. Okay, now we're going to see the data inside the Power Query. Amazing. So the data is in the Power Query. Now let's quickly split all this data. So I'm going to click on this in the Home tab. We have the split column. So I'm going to split by the delimiter. So I click on by delimiter. So I'm going to see the by delimiter dialog box open in a moment. Now we have the applied steps that are automatically generated, so which we can actually go back to or move forward. So I'm waiting for the window to come up. Now it's up. We have the split column by delimiter. Now Excel is so smart, even the Power Query. Now the Power Query senses that my delimiter is iPhone, and that is why we have it under the custom. Okay, and it populated the iPhone for me immediately. So all we need to do is to split at each occurrence of the delimiter. So I click on OK. Can you see the data has been splitted into several columns inside Power Query? Now what I'm going to do is simple. I'm going to promote the first row as my header. So under the Home tab, we have the transform group, and I use first row as header. So I click on that. So it's going to move it to the top. Boom, that is all. So you can see the data types for text, for whole number, and so on and so forth. So all I need to do is to click on close and load, or close and load to. So I'm going to choose close and load to. Okay, then we can dump it. So in an existing workbook, let's just dump it here. Then finally click OK. So we'll see the queries and connection tags pane to the right, and we'll see the data being externally imported into Excel. So I can close this. So can we see that we have been able to split all the data into different columns, which is now usable to perform some further analysis. So this is basically at least two methods, because of our time, of how to split values into multiple columns. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will really encourage us to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more videos, because I release videos occasionally to learn. So over to you, Mr. Mike.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure the audience have learned. Even I have picked up a few interesting things. That sheet view, I think I have to go back and sign and join the insider again, because before I exited when I had some issues with a training, and because I was an insider, the stuff that used to work stopped working. But now I'm seeing that there's a lot of things I'm seeing in yours that are not in mine, that it's like maybe I should get back to the insider and be able.
Absolutely. So it's honor. I'm so delighted to join us to show you little things in Excel, and we hope that we'll be able to, at least with myself and Mr. Mike, we'll be able to come up with something bigger for the Nigerian community on Excel and on Power BI.